7 o'clock. This is the 7 o'clock meeting. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Beagle,
I'm here.
Deputy Mayor Resnick,
Present.
Councilmember Behrman,
Present.
Councilmember Gotchel,
Here.
Councilmember Grenlund Fox, Councilmember Sharp,
Present.
Councilmember Smiley,
Here.
quorum present.
Thank you. Changes or additions to the agenda as presented tonight. City Manager.
I have no changes, Your Honor.
Assistant City Manager.
I have none, sir.
Any from the dais? Seeing none, moves on to the approval of minutes. We've got one set of minutes to approve tonight, and that's from the regular City Council meeting of January 23rd, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Support.
Thank you. Any comments, questions, corrections? Seeing none, I got a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the regular City Council meeting of January 23rd, 2024. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have no correspondence tonight, which leads us to the call to the public. The rules of the call to the public are as follows. The public shall address the council during the call to the public, which shall be included in the agenda immediately after correspondence, and again immediately after new business. The first call to the public immediately after correspondence shall be limited to agenda items only. A person shall not address the council in excess of 5 minutes unless the time is extended by a majority vote of the council present. Persons wishing to address the council shall identify themselves and their place of residence and shall state their reason for addressing the council. And all comments by the public shall be made directly to the council. Do we have anybody for the first call to the public? Seeing none, I'll close that. Move on to city managers' reports. We have two tonight. The first one will be the fire monthly report from December 2023. Any questions? Deputy Mayor Resnick?
Just maybe a question for Mr. Brett Meyer since you're here. I saw that the December priority calls are down below 6 minutes, and it looks like overall we made a market improvement. Is that due again to the full-time staffing at the fire department?
Yes, having staff at 24 hours definitely is significant.
That's great improvement for the priority calls especially. Super. Well, great job.
Yeah. All right. Next batch of city manager reports of the police monthly report from December 2023. Any questions for Chief Langmeyer? Get that smile off your face. All right, we're moving on to the consent agenda. Items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the items will be removed from the consent agenda and added to the regular agenda at the end of unfinished or new business. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Support.
I got a motion and support to approve the consent agenda as presented tonight. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moves on to discussion items. The first discussion item tonight is the road millage, major and local correspondence. City Manager Brown?
Thank you, Your Honor. So provided a correspondence item as part of a, basically a package with your item under new business, which was to set or to consider putting a renewal of the additional operating millage on the ballot in August of this year. So in conjunction with that, since Mayor and Council had previously discussed that as well as the roads millage sort of in tandem, we provided a piece of correspondence here for your information regarding the possibility of a road millage. And I won't read through the entire package. If you want to cover anything on out of the letter that you want to cover individually, I'd be happy to do so. But the bottom line is, per prior discussion, we had talked about potentially placing a road millage on the November presidential general election ballot, and that is what was put before you here tonight.
Thank you. Councilmember Gotchel.
Thank you. So attachment 6 is the proposed
Language, correct?
language if someone didn't want to make that a motion.
Yes, correct. That's what was written, provided by the city attorney, as well as vetted with the Attorney General's office at the state of Michigan to make sure it covered all the right boxes and checked all the right things there.
Okay, thank you. After our last discussion about this, I received a call from one of our residents, and he had questioned, he agreed that the roads need to get dealt with, which I think most people would. But his main question was going for the up to 2.5, without including, he had noted, our general fund and budget stabilization carried a healthy balance, and thank you to Marilyn for providing the information. I know I emailed today, so sorry to cut off whatever you were working on. But a part of his thought process or questioning was, would it make sense, or have we considered as a council figuring out if any of us feel comfortable spending down that combined reserves a little bit, still staying in healthy territory, but spending that down a little bit to maybe lessen the up to number, or to change something about the millage. So I did have some other questions that came up. As the add-on information we got tonight shows, our general fund is at 29% and our budget stabilization is at 9%. And the auditors say no less than 15 and up to 35%. So we're even high on the up to little bit according to them. So I wanted to pose his question, I guess, to council to see what anyone's thoughts were on, were we happy maybe spending that down to 25% or something, still saying healthy, but how does that impact things? So, thank you.
Deputy Mayor Resnick.
One thing that we had significant discussion about that evening was keeping the language up to 2.5 mils for the fact that maybe the first year we only levy a half a mil, or right, if we wanted to eat some of that budget up. But I think that keeping the language for up to gives us some leeway, and as Mr. Sigma had mentioned, that who knows what construction costs are going to be in 4 years from now, right? And so I feel comfortable, and after the discussion that we had, I think it was good to keep it that way rather than say a hard, fast 1.5 mils or whatever. So that's my...
No, I'll agree with Deputy Mayor. I think if we keep it to the up to, I think that'll do the job that we're looking for here with keeping the roads and fixing the roads and getting the roads in better shape for our citizens. Councilmember Gatchel?
Thank you. I tend to agree that the up to language, and I like that we've started doing that in villages, gives us flexibility on what we collect. I think as we prepare the budgets coming up, it might be worth having that discussion at some point or during budget study sessions of, are we comfortable coming off the level we're at for reserves, and how can we spend that, whether it goes toward roads or filling in the gap as we get into our new business here, looking at surplus and deficit chart. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Councilmember Garland Fox?
So I had a question about, and I talked to Councilmember Gatchel, who had indicated he brought this up, but when I was reading through the packet, I was reading about the potential override to the rollback. And was that pertaining to the general fund, or was that pertaining to all funds, or what was that pertaining to, the rollback?
I thought council had discussed the idea of the millage rollback, overriding that Headley cutbacks to our millage capabilities and putting it back up to the original and maximum, but I didn't think that they were interested in pursuing that, so we didn't put that into this option package. But if we were to do something akin to that, that money could be used for any operating purpose.
But was the thought or the discussion, and I guess I don't remember, was it the rollback, the Headley rollback to all funds, or just the general fund, or what? Just general? Is that what it was?
It just would be, we would just restore the millage to the prior level, and then we'd be collecting that year in and year out.
Okay, so my other question was, what is the original millage that was authorized by the charter? A total of 8?
Right.
Okay. And, okay. I get it. I understand now. Thank you.
And Headley override would just take it back up to that original 8 compared to the 7 point something or other that we're at.
Overall fund, okay.
It's about a half mil, or well, a little bit more than a half mil, 0.55 roughly speaking.
Okay.
Are we good?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Sharp?
Thank you, Mayor. Glad to hear Councilmember Gottschall's reaction to a citizen, taxpayer, voter, I assume, citizen writing about spending down our general fund balance, because I know for sure that that same idea has come from the dais and maybe from the farthest end of the dais. And I support spending down if we can. I still have questions about road contractor capacity over the next year. I'm not saying no to the 2.5% as a number. I'm just saying no to doing it next year while we already have a road millage in place. I would like to move it out a year. I know there's been concerns, well, what if it doesn't pass? But I've also heard the same thing said, that our taxpayers are happy with what we're doing and they will gladly approve it. So I'm not sure which way to go on whether it'll pass or not. And I guess I'm not 100% sure 2.5 mils is the correct number, but I do think we should continue with about 1.15 mils that we're getting over the next year with the current road millage, and then approve this next year at this time to go on the ballot for 26, 27 to replace the one that expires in 25, 26. So I don't know how many ways we can talk about it up here. I'm still voting no to put something on the ballot in November. Thank you.
Councilmember Behrman?
I'm fine with the language as proposed. I think putting it forward sooner than later is better. And a comment on the Headley option. I think a couple of the municipalities that we've watched that have tried it, maybe they did a bad job at selling it, but I don't believe many of those have passed trying to do those. At least I know Berkeley's, I think, failed. So I mean, I'd much rather start this sooner than later, especially with some of our major roads that are going to need some work soon, and we're not even collecting a major road millage currently because it's expired.
And just to point out an additional point on the override, that becomes subject to rollback again in the future. So it's not a consistent revenue source like the road millage promised to be. It's just same factors come into play. It's you're not, if you thought 2.5 is what's required and you're going to get 0.55 from that override, that's going to start to come down just like the road millage would as well potentially, but at least you have the higher number to begin with.
Then my only other question or point of clarification would be, are we looking for a motion this evening?
I believe.
I don't believe our intention was for, this doesn't have to be approved tonight unless you wanted roads to be on the August ballot. This was simply just to, the request was that we prepare ballot language. So we did, and wanted to provide it to you all in case you did want to act in some different way. That is not our recommendation. Related to the road millage, you do not have to act in the...
Operational is on August, correct?
That is a later agenda item, yes, that's under new business.
Potentially, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I just don't want two on the same ballot.
Yeah, that's why we put both. If you wanted to change, however you wanted to go, we wanted to give you all the language.
Understood, thank you.
There's no need to take action if you're going to do the general election in November at this time. You can do that at an upcoming council meeting. That's the point. You don't need to act this evening on the roads millage.
Councilmember Gaccio?
Nothing, we could still take action tonight and say that it would be for November though, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so maybe we forget about it in a few months or not, I would hope not, but yeah, I would rather just get it done with tonight and then we know to submit it to the county and to the state for November, but then it's done. I think the only thing barring that would be looking at how we might spend money if we decided that, but I don't think it's going to change the number based on the discussion today. So I think it's just putting it off for the sake of putting it off, which seems a little pointless. So I'd make the motion. How do you want the motion made? To approve the ballot language as presented as attachment 6?
We'd have to prepare that, well, you would basically, you're just looking at new business number 2 and substituting language for the dates and the subject matter of the millage and the amounts, as far as I'm concerned.
So
That'd be the easiest to do.
we'd make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the placement of a ballot proposal on the November something, 2024,
November 5.
November 5th, 2024 general election ballot to consider authorization of, how would we?
You just pull it from the language that was
Proposal
provided.
to terminate the current millage for maintenance of local streets and replace it with a millage for the maintenance of local and major roads and streets in the city back, commencing
For 10 years, commencing.
for 10 years, commencing July 1 also? Yes?
Yeah.
2025 and effective through and including July 1st, 2035, 2034?
34.
34, to provide funds for, as stated.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Deputy Mayor Resnick?
Thank you. I just wanted, for a point of clarification, the up to 2.5 mils isn't just for the local roads. We had an already expired major road millage that's gone, and so it's really to supplement both local and major roads. I just wanted to make that point clear.
Correct, it's the language, it would be consistent with the language that's in the documentation supplied by the attorney for the sole and exclusive purpose of providing additional revenues for routine and ongoing local and major road and street maintenance. I'd advise that language.
Councilmember Smiley?
Thank you, Mayor Bagel. I may have missed it, but I just, in Councilman Gottschall's proposal, did you say 2.5 in there somewhere? Is the mill?
Up to.
Oh, I'm sorry, up to?
Yeah, up to.
Okay. I didn't hear the 2.5, that's what I was listening for. And then, on that note, I just want to confirm, and that, I don't know, this might be for Tim. The 2.5 is to get us on a path to a 6 PASER rating, correct?
That's the goal, yes.
Okay, just want to make sure that's clear too. We're not, this isn't, getting
Not
us to
taking it
10.
up to
This is
10.
just getting us into like some positive territory, which is worth a little bit above mediocre. Well, I guess 60% is a D plus, isn't it?
One more clarification, Clerk. I don't know that you have the language in there about replacing, terminating the original current millage? Okay.
I just kind of, when I was doing it, I was panning between new business number 2 on the agenda and then
Right.
the heading of attachment 6.
Yep, on 5, on page 5 there, yep.
That's all, I'm good with it.
Very good.
Just clarifying the intent to make sure if it's off by a little bit, we make sure that we got it
Make it
right.
look good.
Yes.
Okay.
Councilmember Sharp?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't support the motion as presented by Councilmember Gottschall, primarily because I believe the best path forward is to spend down our surplus in our general fund on a need that we all say is very important, roads, and the surplus in the general fund represents tax dollars that basically we've over-collected and haven't needed. So let's use them for something we say we need, which is to supplement the millage that we already have in place, and then defer the question on up to how much, 2.5% or 2.5 mils, or whatever that appropriate number is in the following year, essentially to put it on the ballot in 2025 rather than 2024 to replace the current road millage that we have. I understand that it's local roads, but the drawdown of the general fund would be sufficient to pay for some major roads as well in the next fiscal year if we needed to. So I just think we have enough money already. We don't need to overtax the residents further. We already have overtaxed them. That's why we have a surplus in our general fund. So I won't be supporting the motion to put an additional tax on the ballot in November. Thank you.
Councilmember Gaccio?
Thank you. I understand your perspective, and I think they work in conjunction. So I don't think this necessarily is, we can't spend down the money. I guess the up to language in my mind is maybe in year one, we do spend down the fund. And so instead of taking up to 2.5, I think we talked, it'd be 2.3 anyway, that extra 0.2 is for inflation down the road, hopefully, or never would be better. But maybe in year one, the funding for the projects does come from spending down if we agree on that. And so that collection is nothing or $500,000, whatever the case may be. So I think they can work in conjunction. I don't think it's, we can't do both situation. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any further discussion? All right, I got a motion and a second to approve the motion Councilmember Gaccio made. I'm not going to read it because I didn't write it down, but all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Councilmember Sharp?
Nay.
Councilmember Smiley?
Yes.
Mayor Beagle?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Resnick?
Aye.
Councilmember Behrman?
Yes.
Councilmember Gaccio?
Yes.
Councilmember Grenlund Fox?
Yes.
6 yes, 1 no.
All right, thank you. The motion carries. Moving on, we have another discussion item. Discussion number 2 is City Council Rules of Procedure. And City Manager Brown?
Thank you, Your Honor. So we provided a cover memo for this purpose of this discussion as well, and the idea was that Mayor and Council had expressed an interest in revisiting the Council Rules of Procedure several weeks ago. We had previously provided the standing Council Rules of Procedure document as well as a draft that was provided by Councilmember Gotchel of some suggested changes. We once again just provided both of those for your review and use as you prepared for this meeting. And the intent is to have the discussion and decide if there are any changes that you want to make, what those changes are, and then take the appropriate action to make sure that those get adopted formally for future use.
All right, very good. Councilmember Behrman?
Okay, the only thing I'll note is that I did go through after the last meeting that we talked about this and was asked for feedback, and I gave all my feedback, but I don't see that any of the feedback that I gave has made their way into it. Did other people give you feedback?
I have my notes here, but this wasn't, what's included in this packet is what was given last time. I got feedback from you and Councilmember Sharp, and so I have like notes of that, and when we put together the full edit, basically, then they would be accounted for, but this wasn't an update or anything like that. I do have your notes actually typed in here, though, about changing a few of the things like regular meeting dates in December and the budget study session being in the 3rd week to the 4th week and other language and whatnot. So it is noted.
Okay, so I guess, are we looking to approve something tonight or just further discussion? Because I guess I'm just slightly annoyed that I spent the time to give my feedback, but it's not in the packet tonight.
Yeah, it was sent to me and nothing like, this wasn't an update or anything, and so since we had feedback from 2 people, if others have other feedback, then we can work that out, but I don't think it's, unless everybody's cool with everything, I think it's to get everything, so at a future meeting, we can just vote and be on the same page.
So do you want me to go through my feedback this evening?
If you want to share with everybody, I have and otherwise.
Okay. I mean, my main thing was, is I think the constant emails going back and forth and changing council meetings, if we always know we're going to have the budget meeting in April, let's just set it the 3rd week in April, right? Yep. There's no reason for us to, so that everyone can plan ahead. They know the 3rd week in April on Tuesday they're having the budget meeting. Same thing December. Every December we change it, so just change the date in our rules so it's there. I was not in support necessarily of removing the pledge. I didn't understand why we need to do that. I don't really care about the dress code. I'll leave that up to the majority to decide. And I was fine with the process for vacancy for council, if that's what council wants.
Deputy Mayor Resnick?
Thank you, Mayor. I too was in favor of most of the changes. What I may suggest on the budget session date, I'm fine with 3rd or 4th in April, and we can make it fixed, but we might just put in there to allow some flexibility for some reason, unless voted on by majority of council to change it. That was just a suggestion, because there may be a situation where, you know, we wouldn't get a quorum for it, so I would leave the flexibility in there. And I'm opposed to removing the pledge, and I too am fine with the dress code. I prefer, but again, my age might show that we're more formally dressed up here, all of us, but I'll go with whatever majority of council as well.
And just so you know, so that way I can adjust everything, you said you'd be in favor of was it the 3rd week of April unless prior approval by council?
By vote of the majority of council, because there may come a situation where we wouldn't have a quorum, and I'd hate for us to just fix a date and not have a quorum. And then keep the Pledge of Allegiance.
Councilmember Smiley?
Thank you again. I thought I saw in here that you did add a note about having the budget sessions.
I didn't put the 4th week because I just wasn't thinking about our regular.
I don't have my, well, that's what that says, okay. Yeah, I like that too, but Deputy Mayor Resnick makes a great point about, you know, sticking that little bit of flexibility in case, quorum's an issue. And then, it was good with everything else except, and I'm curious, why would we remove the Pledge of Allegiance?
So this is an un-American thing, but we've all sworn an oath to be up here that completely covers the pledge, and there's nothing that states that any member of the public that comes here has to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So it's kind of like a little bit redundant on our part, and there's nothing to say that any member of the public has to do it. And I know there are certain cases that I've heard, especially in schools and whatnot, where it might be against someone's particular religion to pledge allegiance, and they feel left out or that people are looking at them differently because they aren't doing it. So it's just, to me, I follow the oath. We've all sworn the same oath. It just isn't, I understand people wanting to do it, but I don't think it's.
Yeah, I like to keep it in there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You and everybody else.
I hope so.
Councilmember Cullen Fox?
Thank you. So I won't mention the pledge then. And then if we could remove the masculine pronouns, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
I was looking for them.
All right. And from my end, I agree that budget study session should be in there with the flexibility. We keep the Pledge of Allegiance. Dress code we keep. I mean, we have budget study sessions and stuff like that, we dress casual, but, you know, when we're up here, we're doing a business meeting, we're basically running the city. I think we should look professional when we do it. And I know this has been a bone of contention, but I don't think we should change any of the rules or procedures on boards and commissions. Again, you know, I know tax abatement has been a big issue, but like it was brought up before that there's business owners that pay more taxes in this city than homeowners. Why should, and if you don't think they have a stake in the city, I just don't understand that. So I think that they should be allowed to be on a committee as long as if they own a business, even though they don't live in the city of Wixom. But other than that, that's my 2 2 cents on the rules of procedures. Councilmember Sharp?
Thank you, Mayor. I did submit some to Councilmember Gottschall as well. I'd like to go through them. My overall comment was I generally agreed with everything that Mr. Gottschall had put in, but I did have some comments on each one. And my first one was regarding wearing ties. I'm happy to vote with optional, but I also defer to the mayor. So if the mayor would like to keep them, I'm good with keeping the ties in as well.
I do,
Although-
because you look good in blue and gold.
That's going to cost you this year, even the ties. That'll be the meeting, you say the ties are optional. Regarding the Pledge of Allegiance, I said I felt like we should keep it to remind ourselves why we support the democratic process and the Constitution, although in parentheses I said that's not explicitly mentioned in the pledge. However, I'm willing to listen to discussion about removing it and could possibly be swayed, but I say leave it in. I support the changes to the boards and commissions, and I directionally support the changes to appointment to a council vacancy, but I thought the language was really cumbersome. I think we could, if we agree we want to make a change, we need to work on the language in there a little bit. It was really a lot. And then regarding the last section, general conduct of council members, I'm picturing maybe some other neighboring communities where people are coming across the table at each other. I hope we don't have to publish something about treating each other with respect and behaving ourselves in the meetings. I can't remember, is it in there now? And we were just, no, you were adding it. Okay, that's what it was. I did have one add. I missed this in the first one, and I've been a proponent of this. But in the section about agendas, we say packets and agendas distributed to council, and then agendas posted to the general public. Our practice has been we've been posting the packets as well to the general public on our website. I would like to put that in there. I thought it was in the first draft of it, but somehow I missed that. But I'd like to make sure we formalize that and put the packets in. I know we had some concerns about that, but we haven't seen people beating down the doors. Maybe we're getting more people online because of that. I don't know. But it hasn't disrupted our meetings because we've been putting the packets out to the general public. So I think we should keep that up.
Yep.
But that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how many people do read those packets
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Good.
Shocks me. Okay. Councilmember Grella Fox?
Actually, I'm all set.
Okay.
Thank you.
I like the packet idea.
Councilmember Smiley?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad Councilman Sharp added that thing about the packet. It has been available, but I'd like to see it in here as well. And then I forgot about the tie thing. Yeah, I like that we wear a tie. Now, when it's really a tough, hot day in the past, in the summer, we will occasionally, and I assume that'll continue. Maybe. Okay. All right. As long as it's possible. And then, yeah, if you want to see more people here, take the pledge out of our thing, and we'll get a crowd.
Councilmember Gottschall?
Thank you. The beauty of being ties optional is if you love wearing them, you can, and if I feel like I'm strangling myself to death, then I don't need to wear one. So.
I didn't say I liked it.
I believe your exact words were, you can't wait to put a necktie on every single day. So to, I guess, summarize, or if someone wants to get into the council vacancy language, my goal or my hope is taking the notes, addressing what was initially put out, and then hopefully we get it sent back to council on another agenda and we can vote and all be as happy as we're going to get. I don't think everybody's going to be super happy or thrilled on everything. But to summarize, I have, like I said, Councilmember Sharp and Behrman's comments, and then it sounds like budget study session being the third week of April with flexibility to be changed by a majority of council ahead of time.
Third Tuesday.
Change. Well, I don't know that it needs to be
No, we choose on
Tuesday
Monday.
so much as third week.
I think we need to pick the date that it usually is, so we don't need to have 20 emails back and forth. And if there's a conflict, we can vote differently, but I'm just trying to avoid the emails.
Typically Monday.
Then whatever day you want, Monday,
Yeah.
third Monday.
It's usually, we could Monday, but in years past, we've had budget sessions over 2 days. So if we always say the second Tuesday, then that means do we do it all in one day, or if we leave the week open, then we know we got flexibility for a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Monday, Tuesday, or a Monday, Wednesday, or...
I was just trying to avoid that.
Well, we'll get that taken care of before, a couple meetings before the budget session, we'll have it set, so.
Like I said, not everyone's going to be thrilled about everything, but I think we used to have some, I think one year we had one that won like 2 days and a little bit on a third day or something. And so if we have heavy lifting to do, I don't think you can specify one day, because those 2 and apart days included being here until midnight anyway on the 2 long days.
Wing plow.
Yeah, so, Tim, no.
Wing plow.
So, budget study session, changing the pronouns, definitely keeping neckties optional, just kidding. Let's see. That was consensus. If we want to get into, there was comment about boards and commissions. I don't know, no one else shared that except for the mayor, and then the language on vacancies. We can either talk about stuff tonight, or when it comes back, then talk about it then, but we're going to talk about it one way or the other.
Assistant City Manager Benson first, and then...
I just want to point out, Planning Commission Mondays are the first and third Monday of each month. So if you schedule budget study sessions for the third Monday, that would create a conflict, in case people wanted to go to both.
My language will just say third.
Okay, I just wanted to put that on the table.
Deputy Mayor Resnick.
Could I suggest that Councilman Gottschalk comes back with a clean red line for us for next meeting? And that way, it'll all be in front of us with this input.
I'm just going to give you an all-black copy and let you figure it out.
When people do that.
You're retired now. You guys
Okay. So are we good on this? We have direction?
I hesitate to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. What are we going to do about Councilmember Gronlund Fox willful noncompliance with the necktie rule? So I think you might need to address that.
Wow.
Yes.
If you follow me.
Well, all right. From
Think
here
about
on-
that.
From here on out. No.
Just something you probably should think about before you bring it back.
Needs to be worded.
Maybe talk with the council member about
What
it.
is the exact,
I'm going to...
what's the exact?
My thought was to leave it as optional, and if you guys hate me and want to
Well-
make me wear them, then we can change it at the next meeting, but...
Well, it's the, it says here dress code.
I was trying to find it, and I couldn't find it, so.
It says there shall be a formal business dress code for all members of council during meetings. Neckties shall be optional. That's what it is here, so.
Oh, I thought you were making it required.
No, I didn't. No, I just said keep as is.
Oh, you're good.
It was not in there right now.
That was
Adding
an
it.
addition.
Okay.
Because there's no dress code at
Okay.
all right now, so it could get real fob
Well-
if we wanted it to.
Yeah, I think, all right. Well, how,
I stand corrected. I didn't know it was optional as proposed. so.
well, that is proposed, but,
I thought it was required.
Well, sure it is.
okay, okay. All right, so, all right. We're good with that. So we're moving on. No unfinished business tonight. We'll move on to the first item under new business. Recommendation to consider appointment of Tom Resnick as deputy mayor in accordance with the Wixom City Charter, Chapter 4, Section 4.7. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Again, in accordance with the city charter, the council shall elect from its members a deputy mayor who shall act as mayor during the absence or disability of the mayor, and if a vacancy occurs, shall become mayor for the remainder of unexpired term. Tom's been my deputy mayor for the first 2 terms, and I'd like to keep things as is. So with that, open up for discussion. Councilmember Sharp.
Thank you, Mayor. I've heard Deputy Mayor Resnick supports optional neckties in the summer. Is that correct?
Great.
Thank you.
Councilmember Sharp, Councilmember Behrman?
Following Councilmember Sharp, do we have his resume attached to make sure we have all the information?
24 years ago.
This is his new resume right here. Nothing, it's just retired.
I'm in support.
Anything else? All right, I got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to consider the appointment of Tom Resnick as the deputy mayor in accordance to Wixom City Charter, Chapter 4, Section 4.7. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, and thank you for supporting me on that. New business number 2 is a recommendation to adopt a resolution authorizing the placement of a ballot proposal on the August 6, 2024 primary election ballot to consider authorization of the renewal of an additional operating millage of up to 3.5 mils equal to $3.50 per $1,000 of taxable value for an additional 4 years commencing July 1, 2025 and effective through and including July 1, 2028 to provide funds for municipal operating purposes, including the police, fire, public works, and parks and recreation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, city manager.
And we sort of discussed this earlier, so the prospect here is that we're looking to have the additional operating millage placed before voters for potential renewal at the August 6th primary election. For a 4-year period. It's already mentioned from July 25 through July 28. I think there's a lot of detail that's been provided here. There's a lot of information provided in the table that shows what happens if we do not have that operating millage renewed. I'm not going to go through the full memo for purposes of this meeting, but bottom line is the city council is recommended to adopt a resolution placing that item before the voters on the August 6th ballot.
Very good. Discussion? Councilmember Gatchel?
So, again, thank you, Mayor, for providing this. Looking at the assumptions that were made in here, I know it said 2% for taxable value increase, and it looks like our actual has been above 5 most years recently. So it kind of boils back down to me thinking 3.5 is maybe too large. And I understand the chart, but it seems like some of the assumptions in the chart were a little bit low compared to what we have been experiencing. And I really don't foresee a circumstance, barring like World War III, that we're going to have a decline in taxable value anytime very soon. So I would prefer, again, if we could limit ourselves to up to 3 mils. It's even projected at 3 mils right now for next fiscal year. We'll be running a surplus of just over $380,000. That's approaching half a mil's worth of revenue. I feel like we can maybe bring in less. And so if we can bring in less, then we don't need to ask for the 3.5. I just feel like that's where we get into territory of these other projects come up. We're wanting to bring in other people to do jobs. I just feel like if we know that money's there, we're not limiting ourselves, and maybe time is getting spent on other projects that we don't really have intention of doing or making hires for positions. I just would really like to see us trim back from that up to 3.5. I think if we adjusted the assumption in here from 2% growth to what was provided today at our seats, I think this chart would look a little bit different probably.
Any other comments, discussion? All right, seeing none, I got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to adopt a resolution authorizing the placement of a ballot proposal on the August 6, 2024 primary election ballot to consider authorization of the renewal of an additional operating millage of up to 3.5 mils equal to $3.50 per $1,000 of taxable value for an additional 4 years commencing July 1, 2025 and effective through and including July 1, 2028 to provide funds for municipal operating purposes including police, fire, public works, and parks and recreation. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Councilmember Smiley?
Yes.
Mayor Beagle?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Resnick?
Aye.
Councilmember Behrman?
Yes.
Councilmember Gatchel? Councilmember Grenlin Fox?
Yes.
Councilmember Sharp?
Aye.
6 yes, 1 no.
Thank you. Motion carries. And that concludes the new business of portion of the business meeting tonight. And we'll move on to the second call to the public. I will not read the rules of the call to the public in since no public has arrived. Do you guys have anything you want to add tonight? All right. City manager's comments. City Manager Brown.
Yeah, so 2 items on the city manager update for the mayor and council's information. One is related to the change that we went through with the website notification tool that we've had historically, which was the e-notifications that was being taken away as an option essentially by the website provider. We found out there's a possibility of having this Gov delivery option, which is an improved version of that. Their product is referred to as the Bulletin. As part of that capability, texting was something that would become a possibility for us, and we are actively rolling that out now, and we have achieved that as a capability as it stands. Cheryl Lucas in my office did a lot of work with Gov Delivery, going through, again, a new training process for that and learning about it. We talked about it today in a meeting, and we'll be rolling that out among the departments most likely to use it: police department, fire department, the DPW function for when there's a boil water advisory, something akin to that. And when people are getting to the website, you will be prompted again, in my experience, assuming that's going to be the consistent experience. I was already signed up for notifications, but I was still prompted to sign up again. Then it asks you for your email address as per usual, but then it adds the additional step of providing a cell phone number if you'd like to participate with texts. They're emergency texts. There's less than a handful of categories that we will use this functionality for, and it's all related to emergency situations, utility problems, a fire situation, something akin to that. So that's something that's now available to us, and we'll be rolling out with greater effort here in the coming weeks, but we already have the capability, and now it's just a matter of rolling it out a little bit further internally to make sure if something were to happen in an odd hour of the day, we can have that activated when needed. I believe I was told this morning that we have 188 people that have signed up to provide that texting capability to us to communicate in an emergency. So we're pleased that we have that new tool. And then the second thing is old situation where there was an accident at Aztec and back near Walled Lake Western High School. It was discussed that there was a lighting issue there potentially. We started conversations with DTE to do something about that, and that's just come to completion recently. We've come to an agreement with DTE to have that installed. We're going to cost share between the city and DTE, and we decided to do the announcement now, even though the light is not yet present, because we may well not hear about it before the light goes in. So I wanted to make you aware that that was happening. So that'll be an improvement to the safety experience there at that intersection near Walled Lake Western High School, and we're happy to see that happening. And that's the only 2 items that I had. Everything else was related to different events that are happening throughout the city, and I'll defer to the schedule.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Assistant City Manager Benson?
I do. I just have one comment, kind of a little more of a shout out for DPW Director Sigma as well as HRC. On the safety note, in the past we've talked about some safety concerns on Pontiac Trail related to the airline trail, and thanks to HRC and working with them, we're looking at some grant opportunities through SEMCOG, the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, for safety audits and really kind of help us attract funding and really look at what safety improvements we should look at along the whole corridor, both Wixom Road and Pontiac Trail downtown. So just since we were on the topic of safety, I wanted to point out and give a little bit of kudos for the work that's going on behind the scenes, and hopefully we'll have a grant opportunity or more information on that coming forward. But know that was a focus in the past, so I wanted to provide a small update since we were talking about safety.
Very good. Is that it?
Yep.
Very good. Council comments. Councilmember Smiley.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one question. The Wixom Gala sounds great. We're going to go. But I got a note. I was thinking it was to the council, but no, I think it was actually just a reminder to sign up by the
26th.
26th. Thank you.
Yep.
And it's kind of a replacement for the wine tasting
Correct.
which kind of stopped when COVID hit. And it says something about the wine tasting wasn't possible or didn't work out or something like that. I'm just wondering if there's a further explanation, because that was a popular event.
Right.
What happened?
I'll have to follow up with Deanna. I don't have a particular detail as to what was the issue. I'm assuming it was something in relation to the previous company that we were working with, difficulties of some sort, not available to do it or not interested in doing it any longer. That's my guess. I'm sorry I did not clarify that with her, but I'll find out.
That's okay.
We'll get you some information on that.
Okay.
I, too, was a big fan of the wine tasting event, and I'm sure I'm going to be a big fan of the gala as well. So.
Yes, I had to look up what cocktail attire is. But I think you don't have to have a tie. So Councilman Gottschall's sure to be there. That's all I have, thank you.
Councilmember Sharp.
Thank you, Mayor. No comments tonight.
Very good. Councilmember Garland Fox.
No comments tonight, thank you.
Councilmember Gotcho.
Regarding streetlights and safety, it strikes me driving from basically 96 on Wixom Road north through basically our whole new redeveloped area. It's very dark at night. There are like no streetlights. We're relying solely on parking lot lights. Do we have plans to ever, is that an us thing or an RCOC/county thing, or not that I'm a fan of light pollution, but that's a main road, and it's more noticeable during winter when the roads are horrible and it gets dark much sooner. That's not a great place to drive at night.
I have to say that I've kind of noticed the same concern in terms of lighting being pretty light, if you'll pardon the inept expression there. I do think that's potentially an issue. We can talk with the different agencies here and see what's going on. So,
Yeah, I don't know in terms of basic street lighting. That'd be a different question. There might be something the road commission may do on that front. I do know for a fact in terms of, if you ultimately want decorative lighting or you want to have more say over what that lighting is, those would then become city costs. And the downtown light poles are actually a great example of that. Those costs are entirely borne by us because we're the ones who want them there. I don't know in terms of,
We pay for all the lights.
Oh, every single light. Okay. So
I guess my personal interest would be like see the road lights. So just giant LED, not decorative, but especially what made it worse is all that foggy weather we've had over the last few months, and driving back from the gym at night and whatnot. If I go that way, it's bad. It's bad. You can't see. So I think that's something that we need to look at as a project, especially as that continues to develop out. I know we have the 2 more retail buildings there that have been approved or are somewhere in that process on either side of Osmond Drive, is it? So
they did receive site plan approval.
Yeah.
Candidly, I'm not so certain that those will happen.
Okay.
We have not received any building permit applications. But yes, they do have the approval to do so.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's just something hopefully we can look at coming up. Thank you.
we'll look at consistency with the other side of the road too, is that other section of area there. So,
Yeah, I don't think there's lights.
I'm saying it might be an issue there as well. It's just you have more business presence closer to the road, which makes it brighter. So we'll have to look at what's there and what's not there.
It's really bright around the gas station.
Yeah. Councilmember Behrman.
My only comments for this evening is just to thank the employees that put on the daddy-daughter dance. It was another great year for my daughters, and that's it. Good time. Girls had a good time.
Very good. Deputy Mayor Resnick.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, thank you to council for my reappointment for the next 2 years. Next Tuesday, I will be not here because of the reschedule due to the general election, because I had a previously planned trip, and so I will not be present next week. And e-notification change, what a nice look. I was really impressed Friday when I saw the first one come in. It's like, wow, really looks good. So very impressed with it.
Thank you.
All right, that's it. Thank you.
Very good. Yes, and I just want to say thank you for supporting Tom being elected deputy mayor again for the 2 more years. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support?
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Very good, thank you. Thanks, guys, have a good night.
Yeah. 2-1, 2024.
Let's just ask Candy's check.
Is it obvious?
My 3-year-old was a